He never thought his life would change so much. For many years, he lived quietly in a small town. His days followed the same pattern. He woke up early, made coffee, and got ready for work. He worked as an office clerk in a local company. It was a simple job, nothing big, but it paid the bills. He liked the calm and routine of his life. He lived in a small, cozy house on a quiet street. The house was not very big, but it was comfortable. He had decorated it with pictures and small things that showed his personality. There was a small garden in front where he grew flowers. He enjoyed watering them every morning. Sometimes neighbors would stop to say hello, and he would smile and wave back. He was well known for being friendly, but also private. He had a few close friends he met on weekends. They liked to play cards, drink tea, and share stories about their lives. He never talked much about his past or family. People said he was a man of few words, but those who knew him understood he had a kind heart. He was married once many years ago, but the marriage had ended quietly. No one really knew why. He never talked about it, and he did not keep in touch with his ex-wife. After the divorce, he chose to live alone. It was a peaceful life, and he liked it that way. He thought he knew everything about his life and family, believed his world was simple and clear. He had no children, no big secrets, and no surprises. His family was small, just him. Some days he felt lonely, but mostly he was content. He kept busy with work, friends, and his garden. Sometimes he would look at old photographs he kept in a box. They were pictures from long ago, family pictures with his parents and siblings. He missed them, but had accepted that time had passed. He had no plans to look for them or change his life. One Sunday morning, he woke up as usual. The sun was shining through the curtains. He made his coffee and sat by the window, watching the birds in the garden. It was a quiet moment, full of peace. He thought about the small joys in life, the simple things that made his days good. After breakfast, he got ready to visit a friend. It was a day like any other. He walked down the street, greeting neighbors and feeling the cool breeze on his face. The world outside was calm and familiar, but deep down, something was about to change. Something that he never expected. Something that would shake his life to its core. He had no idea that his routine was about to be broken by news so strange and unbelievable that he could hardly believe it. The truth was waiting for him, hidden behind quiet moments and forgotten memories. He never knew what would happen next. He never knew the truth. Until the day the Quadruplets walked into his life. The morning started just like any other, but the phone call changed everything. A voice on the other end spoke carefully, sharing news that made him stop and listen closely. The words were strange, full of mystery and hope. He was told that there were children connected to him, for little lives that he never knew existed. The idea was shocking. He sat down, feeling a mix of confusion and surprise. Questions raced through his mind. How could this be true? Why had no one told him before? Was it a mistake? He wanted to believe it was not real. But the voice on the phone was calm and certain. He asked many questions, trying to understand. The person explained that the children were quadruplets, born just months ago. They needed someone to care for them, someone like him. He felt his heart beat faster. Fear, doubt, and hope mixed inside him. The quiet life he loved was about to change forever. He thought about what it meant to have four babies suddenly in his life. How could he manage? How could he be a father now after so many years of living alone? Memories came back from the past moments he had long forgotten or tried to ignore. Faces, names, and events that made more sense now. He realized he had been living only part of the story. There was more to his life than he had ever known. At first, he wanted to run away from the news. He felt scared and unsure. But something inside told him to stay and face the truth. He knew his life would never be the same. The road ahead would be hard, but maybe, just maybe, it would also bring happiness and meaning. The days that followed were filled with nervous waiting. He wanted to meet the children, but was afraid of what he might feel. Would he love them? Would he be able to protect them? He talked to friends and family quietly, searching for advice. Some were surprised, others supportive. But all agreed that this was a big change. He started to prepare. The small house would need to become a home for 4 babies. He cleaned, bought baby clothes, and read books about raising children. Though he had no experience, he felt a strange excitement. It was like a new chapter in his life was opening. It's filled with unknown stories and new hopes. He still wondered how his life had hidden this secret for so long. But he was ready to discover the truth and welcome the quadruplets into his heart. He took a deep breath and told himself, I will do my best. I will be the father they need. And with that thought, his ordinary life began to change forever. The news he had received was hard to believe. He kept thinking about it again and again. For babies quadruplets that were his children, he'd never imagined something like this could happen. His mind was full of questions. How? Why? When? It started to remember old times, long ago, when things were different. He thought about a woman he had known years before. They had spent some time together, but after a while life had pulled them apart. He never knew she was pregnant. No one told him. He never thought to ask. The idea that he could have 4 children out there waiting for him was overwhelming. He felt many emotions at once: shock, fear, hope, and even a little excitement. It was like a story from a movie, but this was real. Life, and it was his life. He tried to imagine what the babies looked like. Were they healthy? Did they need him? The people who called told him they were small but strong. They were in a hospital, but soon they would need a home. He talked to the hospital staff many times on the phone. They explained everything carefully. The babies had been born prematurely and needed special care. But now, they were growing and doing better every day. The man wanted to meet them, but he was scared. What if he didn't feel ready? What if the babies did not like him? What if he could not be a good father? These thoughts made him hesitate. He spoke with a counselor who helped him understand his feelings. The counselor told him it was okay to be scared and confused. This was a big change, but he was not alone. Many people had faced unexpected challenges and had found happiness. The man decided to take one step at a time. He planned a visit to the hospital to see the babies. He wanted to meet them in person and begin to know them. The day of the visit arrived. He felt nervous as he entered the hospital. The room where the quadruplets stayed was small and quiet, where tiny babies were sleeping in their beds, connected to machines and wrapped in soft blankets. He looked at them carefully. Each baby was different, but they all had the same bright eyes and tiny fingers. His heart filled with a strange warmth. He felt love growing inside him, even though they were strangers. The nurses smiled and told him how strong the babies were. They explained what each machine did and how the babies were improving. The man listened closely, learning everything he could. He spent time with each baby, talking softly and holding their tiny hands. He felt a connection that surprised him. It was as if he had always known them, even if he had never met them before. After the visit, he left the hospital with many thoughts. He realized that this was just the beginning. There would be many challenges ahead. Babies needed care, love, and attention. He started to think about his home. It was small and quiet, but it would have to become a place for 4 children. He began making plans to prepare. He cleaned every room and bought baby items: clothes, bottles, diapers, and toys. Some neighbors heard about the news and offered help. They brought gifts and shared advice. The man was grateful but still worried. How could he manage everything alone? His friends noticed the change in him. He was no longer the quiet man who kept to himself. Now he was busy and hopeful. They encouraged him and said he would be a good father. The man also talked to his family. Some were surprised, others were happy for him. But all agreed it was a big responsibility. They promised to support him as much as they could. Every day he visited the hospital to see the babies. He watched them grow stronger and healthier. He learned how to care for premature babies and what they needed. He read books about parenting and talked to other parents of multiples. He wanted to be ready for when the babies came home. The man thought about his past mistakes and missed chances. He wished he had known about the babies sooner, but he also understood that life was complicated. Now, what mattered was the present and the future. He began to imagine what life would be like with the quadruplets. The laughter, the noise, the love filling the house. It was a big change, but he felt ready to face it. Sometimes he felt tired and overwhelmed. Taking care of 4 babies was not easy. But he also felt strong and hopeful. He knew that love could help him overcome any difficulty. He began to talk more with the baby's mother, who had been caring for them in the hospital. They shared stories and made plans for the future, although their past was complicated. They agreed that the children were the most important. Together, they decided to work as a team. The man promised to be there for the babies and to support the mother in every way. The man's life was changing faster than he had ever imagined. He was becoming a father, a protector, and a new kind of man. He learned to ask for help and accept it when offered. He found strength in friends and family who believed in him. Each day brought new challenges and new joys. The baby's smiles, their tiny hands holding his finger, their first sounds, these moments gave him hope. He began to understand that life does not always follow plans. Sometimes the best things come as surprises. The day finally came when the quadruplets were ready to leave the hospital and go to their new home. The man had prepared everything carefully. His small house was full of baby clothes, toys, and cribs. He had spent days cleaning and organizing. The quiet home was about to be filled with life and noise. He was nervous and excited at the same time. The thought of having 4 babies in his care was both joyful and scary. He wondered if he was ready for the responsibility. But he also knew there was no turning back. These children were now his family. The hospital staff helped prepare the quadruplets for the journey home. They explained how to care for them and what to watch for. The babies were still small and needed extra attention. The man listened carefully. Wanting to be sure he could do everything right, when the babies were brought to him, he looked at them closely. Each one was tiny and fragile, but also full of life. He felt a deep connection and a strong sense of responsibility. He held each baby gently, afraid to hurt them, but wanting to comfort them at the same time. The car ride home was quiet. Man drove carefully, thinking about the new chapter that was beginning. His mind was full of questions and hopes. How would the babies sleep? How would they eat? Would they feel safe with him? Arriving home, he opened the door and stepped inside. With the babies, the house looked different now. It felt alive with the sound of tiny breaths and soft cries. The man took a deep breath and smiled. He began to care for the babies, one by one, changing diapers, feeding bottles, and rocking them to sleep. Each task was new and sometimes difficult, but he learned quickly. He found that the days were long and tiring. Taking care of 1 baby was hard, but 4 was a challenge he had never expected. Sometimes he felt overwhelmed and exhausted. But every time he looked at the babies' faces, he found new energy. The quadruplets started to grow stronger each day. They smiled, made sounds, and began to recognize their new father's voice. The man felt proud and happy to see their progress. Neighbors and friends often stopped by to help. Some brought meals. Others offered to watch the babies for a short time so the man could rest. The support made the man feel less alone in this new journey. He learned how to share the work and ask for help when needed. It was not easy to accept help at first. But soon he realized that no one can do everything alone. The man's relationship with the baby's mother became more important. Though their past was complicated, they worked together to care for the quadruplets. They talked about their hopes for the children and how they could raise them with love and kindness. The mother sometimes visited and helped with the babies. The man appreciated her support and was grateful for the chance to build a new family with her. The man also found joy in small moments. When one of the babies laughed, he laughed too. When another reached out to touch his face, he felt a connection deeper than words. At night he stayed awake to soothe the babies when they cried. Though tired, he never regretted being there for them.
The house was quiet again, but the man's
heart was full of love. He kept a journal where he wrote about his feelings and the baby's milestones. It helped him process the changes and stay hopeful for the future. Sometimes, old fears returned. He worried if he was doing enough, if the babies were happy, if he could give them the life they deserved. But he pushed these thoughts aside and focused on the present. He joined a local group for parents of multiples. There he met others who understood his challenges and shared advice. The group became a source of comfort and friendship. The man began to dream about the future. He imagined the quadruplets growing up healthy and happy. He hoped to give them all the opportunities he never had. Though life was hard and sometimes chaotic, the man felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. The quadruplets had brought light and meaning to his days. As the babies grew, the man learned more about patience and love. He discovered that family was not only about blood, but about care and commitment. His small house was now a home filled with laughter, cries, and the busy sounds of 4 growing children. The man knew the journey ahead would be long, but he was ready to face it with all his heart. The man's life had changed completely. For little children now depended on him every day. The quiet house was full of sounds, laughing, crying, footsteps, and sometimes the soft hum of lullabies. Each day brought new challenges and new joys, and the man was learning to handle both with patience and love. Taking care of quadruplets was not easy. The man woke early every morning to feed them. Sometimes all 4 were hungry at the same time, and he worked hard to make sure each baby got enough milk. He learned how to calm them when they cried, how to change diapers quickly, and how to make them feel safe and loved. He faced many sleepless nights. The babies would wake up crying, needing comfort or care. The man would hold them gently, rocking them back to sleep. Even though he was tired, he never stopped caring for them. He knew these moments were important, and they made his bond with the children stronger. Sometimes he felt overwhelmed. The house was small, and there was always so much to do: cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, and taking care of the babies. He wished he had more time and energy. But he reminded himself that this was his new life, and he wanted to do his best. The man asked for help when he needed it. Friends, neighbors, and family came to visit often. They brought food, helped with chores, and sometimes watched the babies so the man could rest. Their kindness made a big difference. He also found support from a local parenting group. There, he met other parents of multiples who understood the hard work and love involved. They shared advice and stories, making the man feel less alone in his journey. The babies grew quickly. They started to smile, crawl, and babble. Each milestone was a celebration. The man felt proud and happy to see their progress. He took pictures and wrote in his journal about these special moments. Despite the joy, there were tough times. Sometimes the babies would cry all at once, and the man felt tired and stressed. He worried if he was doing enough, if the babies were healthy and happy. But he never gave up. The man's relationship with the baby's mother became important too. They talked often about how to care for the children and support each other. Though their past was difficult, they worked together for the baby's sake. They made plans for the future. The man wanted to give the quadruplets a safe and loving home. He hoped to teach them values like kindness, honesty, and hard work. He also thought about his own dreams. Taking care of 4 children was hard, but it gave his life new meaning. He felt stronger and more hopeful than ever before. The man learned that family was about more than just biology. It was about love, care, and commitment. Quadruplets had changed him in ways he never expected. He discovered patience he did not know he had. He learned to be gentle, kind, and understanding. Every day was a lesson in love. His friends noticed the change too. The quiet man who once kept to himself was now a proud and caring father. They admired his dedication and strength. The man knew the road ahead would not always be easy. There would be challenges and hard days. He was ready to face them, one step at a time. He smiled often now, feeling grateful for the gift of the quadruplets. They were his family, his joy, and his reason to keep going. Life had changed in ways he never imagined. The quiet man who once lived a simple, lonely life was now a father of 4 beautiful children. The quadruplets had brought light, laughter, and love into his home. Each day was busy and sometimes tiring, but it was full of meaning and hope. He had learned so much since the day the news arrived. The challenges had been many, but so were the joys. Watching the babies grow and discover the world around them was a miracle he never expected to witness. Smiled every time one of them took a new step or said their first word. The man had grown into his role as a father. He was patient, kind, and devoted. He had learned how to balance his work and family life, making sure the quadruplets always felt loved and cared for. The house, once quiet and still, was now filled with sounds of play, giggles, and stories. His relationship with the baby's mother had also changed. They had built a partnership based on respect and shared love for their children. They supported each other through the hard times and celebrated the good moments together. Although their past was complicated, they had created a new family, stronger and full of hope. Friends and neighbors continued to be a part of their lives. Their support and kindness reminded the man that he was not alone. The community had become a network of love, helping him raise the quadruplets with care and joy. The man often reflected on how life's unexpected twists had led him to this new path. What had seemed like a surprise and a challenge had become the greatest blessing. He was grateful for the chance to be a father and for the love that filled his home. He made sure to teach the children important values: kindness, honesty, and courage. He wanted them to grow up knowing that family means being there for each other, no matter what. He dreamed of a future where they would be happy, healthy, and strong. Sometimes, when the house was quiet and the children were asleep, the man would sit and think about how much had changed. He felt proud of himself and hopeful for the future. The truth he never knew had become the foundation of a new life filled with love and promise. The man understood that life does not always follow the plans we make. Sometimes, the best things come when we least expect them. Quadruplets had changed his life forever, and he welcomed them with open arms and a full heart. He knew there would be challenges ahead. Raising 4 children was not easy, and there would be days of struggle. But he also knew that love and commitment would carry them through. Together, they could face anything. The man looked at the future with hope. The quadruplets were growing, strong, surrounded by love and care. He was ready to be the father they needed, to guide them, support them, and love them unconditionally. In the end, the man's story was not just about surprise or change. It was about acceptance, resilience, and the power of love. It was about building a family, no matter the obstacles. It was about finding joy in the unexpected.